The football world erupted recently when news of an anonymous defensive coordinator indicated that Lamar Jackson would never be a number one quarterback. Harsh words for the transcendent talent who already has one unanimous MVP under his belt, which made him the youngest player in the history of the NFL to ever win that award. But the criticisms for Jackson, which have come from other players around the league as well, are not targeting the type of athlete or overall player he is. The critics are calling into question his ability as a thrower of the football. And the mass sports media can cry about this narrative all they want. The simple matter of the fact is, these are fair criticisms. To this point in his career, Lamar Jackson's career high in passing yards in a season is 3,127. And his career high for passing yards per game for a season is 240. In terms of passing yards per game, in Lamar's 4 seasons as a starter, his NFL ranks are quite simply not good. He doesn't fare much better in terms of completion percentage either, finishing 8th, 27th, 22nd, and 31st. Ultimately, however, the true measure of a player's effectiveness should be measured in his tangible impact to win games. And the Ravens have been undeniably great at doing that, at least during the regular season, throughout Jackson's tenure. But Baltimore's defensive impact shouldn't be discounted over that span of time. They did have one down year in the Lamar Jackson era, as they were 25th in yards allowed and 18th in points allowed last season. But accordingly, that was their worst season in the Lamar era, as they finished 8-9 and missed the playoffs. The other 3 seasons, the Ravens were 7th in yards allowed and 2nd in points allowed, 4th in yards allowed and 3rd in points allowed, and 1st in yards allowed and 2nd in points allowed. Thus, over his 4-year career, Lamar, on average, is 26th in passing yards per game and 22nd in completion percentage, while his defense is 9th in yards allowed per game and 6th in points allowed over that span. You do the math and figure out who is most responsible for their winning during those 4 years. Winning in the regular season, may I add, because here is the main point on Lamar Jackson. He hasn't won a damn thing of importance since becoming the starter of the Ravens. As a starter, Lamar Jackson is just 1-3 in the playoffs. His one single win came against the Tennessee Titans in the 2020-2021 playoffs. Lamar Jackson was 17 of 24 passing in that game for 179 yards, 0 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. The Titans' offense that year was prolific. In the 2020 regular season, the Titans were 3rd in total offense, averaging 396 yards per game and 31 points. However, in that playoff game, where Lamar Jackson threw for only 179 yards and 0 passing touchdowns, his defense held that Titans offense to just 13 points and only 209 yards of total offense, nearly half of their regular season averages. All of that for Lamar's one and only playoff win. In his playoff career overall, Jackson is 76 of 136 passing. That's good for about 56%. And 900 yards, 365 of which came in one flukish game where he was down 3 touchdowns at half and throwing the entire 4th quarter in garbage time of a blowout that his team lost 28-12. In the remaining 3 games of his playoff career, he has not eclipsed the 200-yard mark through the air one time. He also has just 3 passing touchdowns in 4 playoff games to go along with 5 interceptions. His career playoff quarterback rating stands currently at a paltry 68.3. To put that number into context, Kerry Collins is 48th on the all-time career playoff quarterback rating list with a 75.3. You will hear biased loser sports personalities on major outlets such as ESPN complain about the narrative surrounding Lamar Jackson. You will even hear them hint that it's racist.
Lamar's not this, Lamar's not that, because it looks different.
The Lamar Jackson stuff, some of these anonymous quotes are just nakedly racist. And they just are.
But the narrative, which comes mostly from rival coaches and peers within the NFL, is a totally fair one. He is a transcendent athlete, and he is the greatest running quarterback ever. As a thrower of the football, though, he is mediocre to below average. These are the facts. And he cannot win games, particularly more important ones if he is forced to throw the football. That is not opinion. Again, it is fact. And until he proves this narrative is wrong, those facts will continue to haunt him and the Baltimore Ravens, even if the Ravens or some other franchise are foolish enough to give this guy $50 million a year.